Hoping and doubting, students' voices and visions form an integral part of the Multilogue. The digital Multilogue on Fashion Education 2021 is accompanied by a virtual exhibition. Current students from participating universities, MA Global Communications, Fashion Track at the American University Paris, and BA/MA Fashion Design at the Berlin University of Arts, build an exchange of works and ideas. The exhibition showcases projects that doubt and hope through fashion, projects of particular relevance to learning and teaching fashion now.
Fashion is a verb. I have no vision. Designing is disappointing. Designing is chasing an imagination, an ideal form of your idea, your eidolon, something you will never be able to reach, something that will always leave you disappointed and frustrated. Designing is devaluing certain aesthetics. Designing means assuming that aesthetics hold an underlying value, something inevitable and legitimate. Eidolon is an image or representation of an idea, a representation of an ideal form, an apparition of some actual or imaginary entity, or of some aspect of reality. It is a phantom, a ghost or elusive entity. It's your picture of yourself not as you are but as you would like the world to see you. What if I can accept this state in between? What if I can reclaim this eidolon? Instead of trying to come up with the most innovative and unique design, I overlaid and morphed the trends of 2020 according to Vogue, Freundin and Pop Sugar into an Uber trend. Without using any pattern drafting or draping methods, I simply copied those collages into garments, thus creating without judging, generating new designs without creative intention. No patterns, no toiles, no measuring, no pinning, no mistakes, no wrong, no right. I have artistic skill but no creativity or motivation. I can't draw/paint without copying an image/object. What do? I have no vision. I have no talent. I am the poet of sin. I can't draw/paint. What do? Revolt and reconstruction. I have no vision, I exist. What do? I am the picture of myself as I am. I am my own audience. Revolt. Reconstruct. Who designed my clothes?
Adaptation is the New Black is a series of images to illustrate the fall/winter 2021 ready-to-wear fashion shows, but with the inspiration of limitations and restricted resources of copyright fashion images. Since the FW21 RTW shows were produced and presented during the peak of the global pandemic, AUP Global Communications in fashion student/artist/model, Levi Hare, wanted the driving force of his illustrations to be inspired by adaptation and products/ideas created from these transitional moments. After research on the origins of paper dolls and how they are the first forms of documented fashion shows, Levi chose to represent his fashion article covering the FW21 RTW shows with a series of digital paper doll illustrations.
From a fashion authenticator. This blog was created around the question, can originality exist in fashion? In today's age, consumers are placing more value on authenticity and transparency when it comes to fashion. Social media is increasingly used to point out the similarities and ripped-off designs and spread the word quickly to bring justice to the original creator. If we take a look at fashion history, however, we see many collections or silhouettes are a reinvention of a past design. Is this considered original? This blog explores many different and evolving definitions of originality in the fashion industry, from a fashion authenticator, a stylist, a lawyer, and a newly graduated designer.
My project was inspired by my ancestors from the state of Oaxaca, Mexico, who motivated me to look deeper into the traje Tehuana, the iconic dress of Tehuantepec, Oaxaca, and how it has built the women I now call familia. This project was born from curiosity, and an old archived photo of my great-grandmother buried deep into an album of family photos. Being Mexican American, born and raised in Southern California, I did not know how vital this attire was to the woman of my heritage. Through my project, one will find an interview with Patricia Hernandez, a woman in Isthmus of Tehuantepec who has dedicated her life to embroidery in the Tehuana outfit. One will also find a section of my story, highlighting my memories as a child in Oaxaca and my exposure to the Tehuana outfit. Lastly, one can see a section where I dive deeper into the history and the composition of the Tehuana outfit, along with photographs gifted to me by Hernandez.
What in the what world are we wearing? A cross-cultural analysis into how we define personal style, factors that influence it such as culture, lifestyle, and religion, and how we communicate who we are through personal style. I collected interviews from 15 people in the age range of 20-35 from 7 countries. This was by no means exhaustive, but a sample. The intention of this research methodology was to explore what personal style means to people on an individual basis across cultures. How is personal style expressed across cultures? Do we integrate our culture, our ethnicities, our backgrounds, and religions into the way we dress? How do we express our individuality? The interviews illustrate the ways in which our relationship with culture and religion forms our expressions of style, and how we integrate and curate our identity through the medium of personal style choices. Integrated into the responses are subtle messages of self-expression, personality, emotion, and individuality that show how the act of getting dressed is a dynamic ritual of articulating who we are on a given day and what parts of ourselves we wish to express. The responses illuminate that there are many concealed messages left about this intricate ritual, maybe we wish we could communicate, that could empower our sisters, brothers, and friends to embrace our distinct individual identities.
Gender is over. If you want it.
Mein grundlegendes Thema hierfür war der Parasit oder Parasitismus, dessen Absicht es ist, bestehende Systeme zu hinterfragen, indem der Parasit in Systeme eindringt, sie verstehen lernt, sie und ihre determinierte Ordnung aufwühlt und in Frage stellt, sie umprogrammiert, sie infiziert und für Grenzdiskurse öffnet. Diese Eigenschaft des Untersuchens eines Systems und der damit offenen Vielfalt an Schnittstellen eröffnete mir die Freiheit, einige Interessenfelder zu verbinden, die zu neuen fruchtbaren Kopplungen mit anderen Bereichen wie Film, Kunst und Mode führen konnten. Mein Anliegen ist es, eine Vielfalt an Feldern mit einzubeziehen, also eine Heterogenität zu erzeugen, die nichts ausschließt und sich im stetigen Wandel befindet. Über Bachtins literarischem Körperdrama in Form des grotesken Körpers bin ich zu dem Filmgenre Body Horror gelangt, bei dem die radikale, in der Regel destruktive Veränderung des fast immer menschlichen Körpers, Metamorphosen, Verstümmelungen, Mutationen, starke Formen von Deformation oder ausgeprägte Folgen parasitären Befalls zentriert wird. Das Genre bricht mit ästhetischen Darstellungsnormen und Normalitätsvorstellungen. Die Welt wird als widerständiges Gegenüber dargestellt, als verformt, als Gegenstand nicht entender körperlicher Auseinandersetzung. Feste Ordnungen scheinen aufgelöst oder werden spielerisch verkehrt.
As an active entity that creates and consumes images of the body, I would like to question the classification of gender roles and the issue of creating body images represented by fragmentary, pop culture cyborg humans. What form and function should a cyborg have? Because our bodies are respected for diversity and free from gender identity and gender roles. Is there an absolute body beauty? Various forms of love and gender identity could gain new meaning from the expansion of biological functions if medical advances allow men to have bodies that can conceive from birth.
Once upon a time in a land not so far away, there lived a loving human who was always happy and gay. A marvelous kingdom so freeing and fruitful, for there was not only one human, but also another just as beautiful. As they grew, they both felt liberated, dancing around their homes spreading joy and laughter, always searching for ways to constantly be better. They looked so alike, faces were constantly confused, for the only difference that truly existed was the length of hair that reached for gravity, as one human braided it, tying it into captivity. They shared their time, they gave their soul, they understood one another, and together they were whole. The kingdom flourished, the faces looked away, they bathed in the aura that freedom can always stay. Then one day, one truly dark day, came a stranger who brought fear along to stay. This stranger drew away, wincing at the sight of harmony, for this stranger could not understand why they were not each in their own category. This stranger named himself Society, and decided to imprison the humans in his own depravity. He called one woman, and the other man, and claimed anything else is just a scam. He forced them to bear the weight of their own body, punishing them with an image he created so carefully. He threw away their clothes, and all their toys, meticulously crafting new ones, half made for girls and half for boys. The kingdom was scared, no one knew what to do, and so they too followed along, branding Society's vision as true. The darkness never went away, it too remained, hiding any shred of history that was now utterly stained. The girl in her tower, the boy in his, they could not understand how it had come to this. "We are not boys," screamed the girl. "We are not girls," screamed the boy, and yet Society muffled their screams, drowning the kingdom in his own voice. No one heard, no one tried, "We are human," screamed the two as they cried. Until one day, enough was enough, they tore down their walls with their bare hands, and together they stood and took their stand. "We are not one, we are many. Who are you to tell us how to be happy? Human will stay, boy, girl will go, and you will be the one to let the world know." They grabbed Society by his fear. "Tell them," they said, "and make it clear. The humans are right," Society whispered. Louder ordered the humans as Society whimpered. "All these limitations were a prison I created because I decided self-discovery must be dictated. For you to be so strong, stronger than me, meant I would lose grip and have to flee. You have lost your grip." The humans looked down, for you underestimated the power of I. "We are not two humans, all along you were wrong. You separated one entity that together was always strong. We are one, we can be both, together one human cut from the same cloth. If she is man, I am woman. If she wears my clothes, I wear hers. You should have known the universe made us, and who are you to claim one perspective when all along, if the universe has many sides, then us humans have many more."
Diese Arbeit sollte untersuchen, wie Mode, Kleidung und Kostüm erzählt, aufgeführt, verschiedene Formen annehmen und über feste Vorstellungen von Identität und Geschichtenerzählung hinausgehen kann. Die Auseinandersetzung beschäftigt sich mit einem breiteren Verständnis von dem, was Mode ist und sein könnte, und bezieht sich hierbei stark auf performative Designansätze als Methode, mit der Modedesign als etwas verstanden werden kann, das nicht nur Objekte, sondern auch Einstellungen und Kontexte umfasst, in denen sich Körper bewegen. Die Erforschung der performativen Funktionen von Kleidung stellt unter anderem die These auf, dass die Rolle des Entwerfenden ein kollektiver und partizipativer Akt ist, welcher eine Art von Intervention sein kann, bei der Kunst bzw. Design die Welt nicht passiv widerspiegelt, sondern aktiv dazu beiträgt, sie zu schaffen und zu formen.
In my multimedia project, E-Girls, Club Kids, and extremely online queer spaces, welcome to the world of post-COVID internet fashions, I examine the rise of various alternative online fashion styles that emerged or gained attention during the early part of the COVID-19 pandemic. Particularly, themes of Y2K resurgence, fantasy mixed with reality and the idea of the e-girl and e-boy are discussed and looked at. As we all went online for the better part of a year in 2020, these fashions have had the time to shift and evolve in surprising and colorful ways, diverging rapidly from where they were even a year ago. There have been some really unique movements happening in non-traditional, internet, club spaces, and I interviewed a collection of artists, club kids, and the founders of 2 online clubs to get a better picture of what this fashion movement really entails.
Design is always political.
The IOTPA and TPROJECT was founded in 2019. It describes itself as a feminist project that represents an intersection between fashion and communication, and is targeted against manspreading by empowering those who feel affected negatively, and also drawing attention to the problem. The project problematizes manspreading as a practice that condenses and reproduces toxic notions of masculinity. It is about patriarchal expectations of masculinity that are linked to dominance and physical superiority. People of all gender identities suffer from these expectations because they not only restrict women but also the free development of all genders. Together we came up with the idea of printing our messages and demands in the crotch of pants, which only become visible when sitting down, when the legs are spread as a reaction to manspreading, and thus space is reclaimed. We are interested in the interplay of posture and clothing, as well as the subversive potential of hidden messages that only become visible through specific postures. The direct and demanding messages form an immaterial protective layer between the intimate area and the outside world, and are intended to reinterpret the originally sexualized gesture of female leg spreading into a desexualizing gesture of resistance. With our project, we want to empower women, trans, inter, non-binary and queer people, and all persons who feel discriminated by manspreading, to regain space and agency and to question the prevailing gender roles. We work exclusively with second-hand pants or with the pants of our customers,
as we want to explicitly distinguish ourselves from the hostile processes of the fast fashion industry towards humans and nature. The riot print is intended to revalue the worn pants and thereby extend their wearing cycle.
The motivation for my manifesto came from working with my grandmother as part of my Generations project. The geometric grid of a tablecloth inspired me to collaborate with my grandmother knitting squares as a base for some garment. Would my grandmother even have the time and motivation to tackle this project with me? The overcoming of asking for help was bigger than one would think. It is usually a lot closer to me watching some tutorial on the internet than picking up my phone and asking for help. How can we shape and exchange ideas together with an age difference of 60 years and different life experiences? For me, it was a completely different way of developing fashion, more emotional, more personal, and more relaxed. The focus was much more on the process than on results. Our project has embedded itself in our everyday life, and this determined at the same time. We knitted together and alone, in conversation, in silence, at home, on the go, with friends, while listening. The exchange was such an enriching experience for both of us that I would like to encourage intergenerational design process with my manifesto.
One 1781030751114. Why don't I fit in? And why is this my own fault? Why is it conveyed that everything is possible, that I have every option, and thus I fail, if not done? Why is my body, and am I faulty, and not the product or the way it's been made? How can I make something fit that doesn't fit? Why do we equalize something that isn't the same? Why do we have to compare everything in this comparative culture? Can my body be recognized as an autonomous shape, without reference to an ideal? What are the qualities of my physical body in their aesthetic form? In this work, my own body should be seen as representative for all other real bodies, that are just similar in not being the same. Does the mean actually represent reality? How can a system that aims to be generic and cover as many bodies as possible refer to such a specific ideal? Does it make sense to base global sizing standards on fictional body measurements? Why does the fashion industry make clothing for bodies that are fabricated and do not exist like this in reality? Do I have to feel bad about not fitting in? Which techniques are there in the chasm between tailoring and ready-to-wear? How can I develop methods to embrace more real body shapes and celebrate their qualities? What role does temporality play in the context of clothing that doesn't behave dogmatically and restrictively on your body, but is adaptable and liberating? Would a garment accompany you for a longer time and generate a value that goes beyond a seasonal piece?
Why diversity matters. How the fashion runways are setting the stage for world change. Diversity sets the stage for much more than meets the eye. Image credit, Drusilla Madariaga, Pexels. Can the most fashionable cities in the world impact diversity? Racial and ethnic diversity, check. Body positivity, check. Age diversity, check. Several of the runways of Paris and New York exemplified diversity in a multitude of forms during the Autumn-Winter 2019 shows. During Paris Fashion Week, American designer Tommy Hilfiger, in his collaboration with American actress and singer Zendaya, debuted a colorful runway celebrating racial, age and size diversity. Complete with an all-African American spectrum of size and age-inclusive models, the 70s disco, French-US Battle of Versailles-themed catwalk was a glorious, accurate depiction of the world at large. View this post on Instagram. Tomics and Diot 2019 collection, Paris Fashion Week. Image credit, Instagram @ThomaHilfiger. According to Elle, the 59 black models, ages 1870, included the world's first black supermodel, Pat Cleveland, alongside legends and muses Beverly Johnson, Veronica Webb and Christelle St. Louis Augustin. Models Winnie Harlow and Jordan Dunn also joined the impressive lineup, with icon Grace Jones closing the spirited affair. Valentino and Balenciaga also featured Paris runways synonymous with racial, ethnic, gender and age diversities. Stephen Kolb, president and CEO of the Council of Fashion Designers of America, CFDA, published an open letter to designers just prior to New York Fashion Week, stating, "As you cast your New York Fashion Week shows, please remember to promote diversity and inclusion, on and off the runway. American fashion can lead the path." Designers including Christian Siriano, Prabal Gurung and Kushni heeded the call, casting models of all shapes and sizes on the New York runways. According to Glamour, the Fall 2019 shows featured 94 appearances by curve and non-sample size models. View this post on Instagram. Christian Siriano 2019 collection New York Fashion Week. Image credit, Instagram @Siriano. In September of 2017, boldly stepping forward and with the hopes of influencing runways all over the world, French luxury good conglomerates LVMH and Kering introduced a model charter specific to their 33 brands, a few of which include Louis Vuitton, Marc Jacobs, Saint Laurent, Balenciaga and Dior. The initiative aims to set a healthy standard for models being cast by designers for fashion shows and advertisements. Additionally, it includes a commitment to provide psychologists and therapists on set, contributing to the overall well-being of the models during work hours. The New York and Paris Autumn-Winter 2019 runways displayed increases in racial and ethnic diversity and age inclusivity, and deserve to be celebrated. But there is still progress to be made in the categories of gender and size. As the global fashion industry is instrumental in inspiring society, the runways of Paris, New York, and subsequently London and Milan, hold the power and influence to positively drive, shape and impact diversity in our world.
For my bachelor project, By the Rules, I was working on the question of the extent to which economic factors in the form of trade barriers and the increasing shortage of resources influence fashion design processes. The punitive tariffs between the USA and China made me think of the relationship between fashion and economics, and I wanted to understand how a political decision can directly influence fashion design. My collection shows and debates a design approach under trade barriers. To do so, I invented a collection that circumvents the punitive tariffs of the US. For example, instead of the iconic American denim, on which punitive tariffs have been imposed under the harmonized tariff schedule, I am using pure silk for the whole collection, which is not affected by the tariffs, and printed denim texture on top of it.
Sustainability.
Nostalgia. Both the excitement of newness and the comfort of nostalgia are deeply rooted dynamics.